On this episode of Sailing Chaos, we continue the work to improve the functionality and safety of angelfish. In order to keep the batteries safely in place, Dennis built a custom battery box. The box is made out of 3/4-inch composite board so that it'll hold up to the test of time. It's designed to hold two 114-pound batteries. These batteries will be strapped down individually using 2 straps each.
Okay, so you may be wondering why the water's boiling. We're not making soup. We've got this thermomorph moldable plastic. Basically, you put it in the water and you can mold it to whatever shape you want. You can also buy these additional color packets, only a few bucks, and you can make the plastic turn the color you want. It doesn't take many of the color beads to actually make. They said 8 things for every tablespoon. I'm doing a couple blacks and a couple reds, and these are going to go on the battery terminals, since we have a bunch of different wires, and just seal it all up nice so nothing accidentally bumps it. You got to wait for the water to get to 150 degrees. Dump these in there, stir them around. They should all clump up in the middle, and once it's all soft and moldable, you can take it out, mold it by hands, push it on the object you want to mold it on, and you're good to go. So the clear beads have been mixed with those color pellets, formed a big chunk, and it's all forming the color. And then we'll pull it out, let it cool a little bit so we can handle it, and we'll push it onto the terminals to protect them. Okay, I just took it out. It's all moldable. It's almost like playing with silly putty. So then you just push it on, mold whatever you want. Let's go. So basically the plan is you just mush them right onto your terminal. And you do it in a way so that once it's hardened, you can just pop it right back off. So you don't, go all the way under it. I think that looks good. Not the prettiest, but it serves its function. Everything's nice and enclosed and secured. So here's the red one I just molded up for the positive terminal here. I'm gonna get that all on there. And I'm also gonna do a nice long one for this bus bar. It didn't take long, and it's already hardened. So this is what it looks like. Almost hard as a rock. And then you just basically pop it back on there, and it already forms the shape that you made. Alright, so I just did that big bus bar. We'll let that harden up, and then hopefully pop that off and be able to have a nice cover for it. So batteries have been working good. I have this little cheap battery monitor thing that I bought that basically just shows me what approximately is left in the batteries. I'm not sure how accurate that is. The battery charger that I have shows me what it's putting into the battery and stuff, but I don't think it shows me the actual, state of charge where it's at. So I plan on getting either most likely I'll go with the Victron battery monitor, because it's got Bluetooth capability, so I can use the app on my phone or the iPad that we'll be using. I think that makes the most sense, and that will give us better battery readings. But I'm kind of just running all the lights that we have here. It's the only thing we're running off the battery. Nav lights, I've got hooked up LED bulbs. Just took out the old bulbs, put the LED replacements in. They're hooked up to the panel. And you can see the stern light up there. It just lit up. So those are all in. I just got to reinstall that one. And then I got to figure out how it all ties together to the lights that are up on the mast. I haven't done any of that yet, so here's our panel. I just have this screw here that keeps it closed. And then it swings open. Everything somewhat nice and neat. I've got my positive bus bar over here. I've got my negative bus bar over there. And then I've got my breakers with the switches right here. So that's that. Got my bilge switch. Bilge pump is all hooked up. And I've tested it, you know, with on and off. It does turn on, but I haven't tested it with actual water and stuff because I don't have the lines hooked up yet. We've got a gauge right here. It does say fuel, but we're going to label this water. This is our water gauge. We have the template for our countertop laid out. This is going to be a Corian countertop, maybe a little less. And we've got our blocks, G10 blocks, all made and laid out in circles. Basically, they're going to go like that. And then you're going to have your seat cock. That's going to get mounted to it like that. And then they're going to go right there through the holes in the through hull. Got my PEX run. So the water is going to come from the freshwater tank through PEX. I'm not using PEX for the through hulls. I've got actual reinforced hoses that I'm going to be using. And let's go take a look at the freshwater. So freshwater tank is all set. I've got the lid on. I just attached it today and siliconed it with food grade safe silicone. I've got my sending unit here. So this is not mounted yet, so I can show you. But this is what I keep track of for the water level. I mounted it a little bit off the side of the tank, a little bit off the back of the tank, and I made sure there's like a ½ inch to an inch above the bottom of the tank. That way there's no way it's hitting anything. We did add an access panel into here. We did put, you probably can't, oh, you can see it. That's a new basically through hull for the freshwater tank. The other one snapped off and was brittle. So we put a new one on, that's the supply, and then it will actually run over there with PEX to the water pump. You can see we've got that all prepped out. We're going to be putting in an access panel over here, and that's going to allow us to get to that old hose, which was supplied to the faucet that went here. There, same thing, we'll run PEX through here to there. We're going to have a little shower mounted that will tuck away into the countertop. And when we need it, we can pull it out and it will attach up here. Same thing within here. I got to make a template for the countertop. And this will be a Corian countertop as well with the nice 9-inch round sink. Down here was a little funky. That was the old floor drain in the head. And it just went down. There's no hose or anything connected to it. It just went to the bilge, I guess. Not quite sure that's how it's supposed to be. So I'm going to look into that. Possibility we may hook a hose to it and run it closer to the bilge pump, but I don't see any other way of doing it. You wouldn't want a through hull because it's so low in the boat, so I assume that's how most showers go. A lot of plumbing stuff going on. Want to get that all wrapped up. Once that's all wrapped up, then I'm moving over to the engine work. I've got the new alternator here, and you can see I've got the key panel out. We're going to start working on our backer plates for the through hulls. Epoxy, you've got the 105, the 205, and then a little bit of acetone there. You can also get different hardeners. So this is the fairing compound, and then this is the adhesive filler. So this is used for filling in like scratches, minor imperfections, and then you can sand that pretty easily and get a nice smooth finish. And this is for your adhesive filler. It will fill big gaps. You can make it like a peanut butter consistency, and it makes it, you know, strong and fills everything in for you. What we're gonna do is sand all these down. This is G10 backer plate, or G10 plates. We're gonna give it a rough sand, and then we're gonna cut fiberglass to fit over these, and then epoxy it. And then the plan is to put 3 of these, so the next layer will then go like that. And then the third layer will go like that. And then what I will do is I'll have a 6-inch circle for my bottom layer, and then I'll have like a 5.5, and then probably like a 5 or a 4.5 inch circle for the top layer. And then I'll put my through hull right onto this. Instead of using the wood that was previously there, we'll have nice strong backing plates. Right now we're going to go ahead and start sanding them all and get them roughed up so that we get nice good adhesion. All right, so we've gone ahead and we've sanded all the G10 blocks. Now we're gonna go ahead and wipe them all off with acetone, and that just gets any oil and film residue off of them. And then we're gonna go ahead and cut out the sheets of fiberglass. I've got 2 kinds. I've got the cross strands, or coarse mat, I think they call it. And then I also have, I forget the name, but it's supposed to be for more structural. It's really tight weaved, and I'll show you to you in a minute. All right, so we're wiping them down, getting the residue off. And then these are the two types of fiberglass that I went with. So I've got this stuff, it's tightly knit. And then I've got 1.5 ounce cross mat or something like that, but it's just a bunch of little fibers that are all laid together. I've been told this is best for like finish work because the fibers lay out and you can fair it nice and good. This is more structural, so this is what we're going to use for the backing plates. I guess it gives you the strongest bond. All right, we just spent about 15 minutes trying to figure out how to set up this saran wrap box because it's got this spiffy little cutter on it. So now we're gonna wrap our wood with saran wrap so that when we epoxy, everything should be able to peel off easy and nothing's gonna be attached to this expensive board. Okay, so we have everything all set up. You can see where we started. You know, nice dark green. It's still a little bit tacky, but it seems to be hardening up. And we've got ourselves 18 of them because we have 6 through hauls that we need to do, and we're doing 3 per through haul. And this is the last one we did. You can see how it's still kind of white. You know, and as time goes on, it will soak in deeper and deeper, and then it will get to this dark green color. I'm looking forward to what's going to happen once this dries. We're going to try to see if we can break those 2 panels that we connected together, those 2 pieces of G10. And if they do break apart, then we know that this isn't going to work. But if we can't break them apart, then I feel this is going to be strong enough to, with 3 of them especially, putting the through hauls on them and mounting them and securing them to the boat. Next day, these have all dried. They're pretty much hard as a rock. Went ahead, drew my 6-inch circle that would be for the first one. And I'm gonna test them right now to see how strong they are. So I'm gonna do kind of a step test. And I'm gonna put it on there and step on it and hope it doesn't break. So I'm putting 200 and let's say 50 pounds of weight on it. It hasn't broke. And I think it will withstand much more than that. They passed my test. The next thing's gonna be get all the circles drawn out, get them cut out, and get them fiberglass in place. Okay, so this is one of those times when I'm gonna keep it real. So I made our G10 backer plates. I've got 4 1/4 to 5 and something to 6 inches. So those are my sizes right there. And I've been trying to cut them. I got a jigsaw, and anybody that's ever tried to do this before, you're probably already laughing. This is what I did. I mounted it to a board, and then I started to saw. As you can see, I've got little bits of burnt stuff. What was happening after I burned out the first bit with this old beast, I went and got the newer one that we already had on hand. You can't cut G10 with at least the blades we have. If you look closely, right down there, you'll see it's basically turning it to butter knives. So I'm gonna have a whole stock of butter knives when I'm done. I just looked online to see what other people use, and they said a table saw, carbide bit, and diamond blades and all that. Tile cutting blades, I guess, work good. So this is going to go on hold until I figure out what blades I need to get for either the jigsaw or the table saw. This is on hold until I figure it out. Resorted to using a tile saw with a diamond blade, and I'm basically just buzz each part off in straight lines until I end up with something like this. I got my stack of them that I've done so far. I've got my 4-inch one that goes down to my 5-inch one. And then the last one I'll do will be my 6-inch one. It's very dusty. Seems to cut pretty good. But it's no fun. Whew. I don't ever want to do that again. Seacock will mount right to this top one. I'm probably going to see if I can get it to go through the top 2 layers. And then they will all be fiberglass together. Then we'll figure out the next step of drilling the hole through here for the seacock. And that also has to go through the hull. I think what I'm going to end up doing is putting this to the hull, fiberglassing it to the hull, and then drilling through everything, these and the hull, so everything is lined up exactly where it needs to be. So what I had to do is, now that they're done, drill 3 holes. Basically I laid this on there, marked where the 3 holes need to go, and then drilled them. And then I recessed the back portion of it, as you can see there, so the bolts go in pretty far, and then they still stick out as much as I need them to stick out. And then I had to mark the center. The way I did that was with a little template, and then I just put it over there, drew the circle, and then I'm using this to get through it. So then my plan will be is I will glue this in place on the hull of the boat from the inside, and then I will go ahead, take this off, and then drill the rest of the way through with the saw bit, so that on the other side of the hull, this will be able to go through. So that's that. Okay, so for our fresh water system, we're using PEX piping. This is a 1/2-inch PEX. We went with blue, it's opaque, so it helps keep out any growth of anything. And my plan is to attach it to the old water supply piping. So yeah, you want to be drinking out of that? Yummy. So I'm going to try to attach the 2 of these together and then pull this, and my hope is that it pulls the PEX piping right with it. And we're gonna get all the way back here to where the freshwater tank is under the V-berth, and it follows basically that route. So I actually got it inside the pipe, and I put a little screw into it, and I'm hoping that's going to hold it and give it the flexibility that it needs to get around corners. And fingers crossed that works.
Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. If you don't yet have a YouTube account, sign up, it's free. And then you can subscribe to get a notification when we put out the next video.